and of course reactive artillery, just to give you a punch when you need to do some extra damage there. So pretty good mix of defense abilities there. Meanwhile, tabbing back to inverse, you'll see that this HMG team is kind of doing its thing. Let's take a look at this weapon support center, and we do see a sniper coming out of it. Meanwhile, quick to do the flanking here. Always important to do this kind of stuff. Attack the HMG teams by getting somebody suppressed in the front and then doing a flank. But unfortunately, this HMG team was defended by yet another HMG team and tons of grenadiers and tons of everything. And even these side attacks, you can see he's a great player. He's attacking from all angles, and this area is just so well fortified, and with recoup losses up and that sort of thing, looks like he's having a little bit of trouble, but that's fine. He's attacking battles that he doesn't need to win anyways. He's just keeping the pressure up on this side of the map. So now we'll likely see, since that was actually a pretty big retreat from most of his units, we'll likely see that Alfons is going to push up and maybe start stabbing out and trying to capture this kind of stuff. The Greyhound is pretty much repaired and can likely defend. This fuel is probably never going to fall, but you know, he has a chance at this munitions point at this point. The pack is in a good position here. I like that. Nice and camouflaged back there. Kind of prevents this Greyhound from stabbing out too far. Good use of triage center, of course. And we do have a mortar team out on the field as well. Let's take a look and see where this sniper is going. So far, I don't believe there's anything else out there that the sniper has to worry about, but we'll see where that goes. So we do have, it looks like 3 rifleman squads, one of them being Wilson's. The Greyhound is out, the sniper's out, the mortar team, and 1 remaining engineer squad, the minesweeper's out there. Meanwhile, let's swap on over to Alfons and see what the status of his army is for the time being. You can see a lot of units on the field for Alfons. Lots and lots of units. We do have the motorcycle, we've got the anti-tank gun, we've got at least 1, 2, 3 Volksgrenadier squads, 4, 5 Volksgrenadier squads, also including this wounded one here with the Panzerschrecks. Lots of Volks out there, just tons of Volk spam, some machine guns, and some engineers, and that sort of thing. So real big chunk of units out there for him. So let's see what Inverse is going to do for that, because huge Volk spam, more or less. And by the way, I didn't mention this, there's a nice looking medic bunker right there, kind of in the middle of all the action. So, Wilson's rifleman, just kind of going toe-to-toe, throwing some hand grenades. Boom! 3 good looking kills there, and that was right after the, that unfortunately was right, right before the recoup losses went off. Looks like For the Fatherland is now up. These guys all have increased armor and health gen and movement speed, that sort of thing. And, but just in time for them to retreat, actually. These grenadiers likely popping out of this bunker up here, this medic bunker. You can see the medics are right on cue here to pick up their wounded, and this sniper is getting a couple of kills here. 3 kills for this sniper, just kind of poking around. We'll have to see if there are any counter snipers coming out here for Alfons. In the meantime, though, Greyhound just hanging out. Greyhound army item, by the way, increased max health by 16%. Just thought I'd point that out while I'm seeing it there, since it's kind of hard to see all army items. And now this is what I wanted to see earlier. Alfons is stabbing out into this northern territory, and just kind of challenging Inverse's control, since it looks like the fighting has eased up on the southern flank here. So kind of capping everything at the same time. Definitely guaranteeing him at least 1 cap, but you'll see that this Greyhound is on the ball, putting some pressure on this first squad of venerable Volksgrenadiers, and boom, a little Panzerschreck shot to the front armor there from this squad of Grenadiers up there. And here we go. This is the kind of reinforcements that we needed. These riflemen are out there right now. And now that the riflemen do have sticky bombs, you'll see that they do have the sticky bomb range increased by 20% army items. So that's a really good one if you're planning on using that kind of thing. These guys come up just in time, and oh, the reactive artillery goes off. He retreats them and is just kind of backing this armored car out of the way. And wow, 2 reactive artillery shots go off right next to that vehicle and don't do any damage to it. So that's pretty good. I like that too. He had a nice little defensive mine there, just retreated across it, did a little bit of extra damage. So kind of having to back out for now, but you know, he doesn't want to do a full retreat, so he's just kind of keeping his max distance here from between these units, and just kind of, you know, trying to hold on to this area, making it costly for Alfons. Meanwhile, just a nice counterattack, calling his bluff and saying, okay, you're going to push into my territory, fine. You know, this is the threat that I have on the table, which is that I can take this whole area over if you commit too many resources up north. And you'll see he's attacking multiple prongs here. Once on the top and thrice down here in the middle. I guess the mortar team is just kind of setting up. It's not actually trying to cap. Neither is the sniper. But infantry definitely coming down here, extending their control. Meanwhile, looks like we still have the Greyhound up here putting pressure on these non-Panzerschreck wielding Grenadiers, which is always a good thing. And just kind of keep it moving. Lots of resupply going on, lots of healing going on, that sort of thing. Looks like we do have a pack coming out finally. Again, I think he's just anticipating the inevitable Stug or Panther or something like that and wants to be ready for it. Just a good defense. Unlike other RTS games, it is really hard to scout the opponent's base. And you'll see a couple of good mortar shots there, but this whole ball just kind of goes right past where that bombardment was. And now the mortar team does need to back up, but really good reflexes, just instantly moving the units that need to be moved. A little bit of front firing going on here between the riflemen and this group of Volksgrenadiers. And the repaired Greyhound now is up here ready to fight, so... really good micro, just good control of units. Just like look at the positioning, look at the coordination. Just everybody's nicely concaved here, so we've got multiple fields of fire working on just this one squad of this one cluster of units here. You can see it's very effective, and then backed up by a mortar team, which is just firing at will, and then backed up by a Greyhound. So very cohesive army mixtures. These sort of things, just good skills, good habits for any players of any skill level really to imitate, because that's what you want to look for. Mortar team's doing pretty well. And these blobs are starting to look kind of unfocused because he has to kind of move them around in big blob formations, and they're having trouble dealing with these, precise attacks. Looks like these riflemen are now getting kind of called on their deep territory attack here and having to retreat a little bit, but that's okay. Like I said, all this stuff is bonus, frankly. He's got all the control over the victory points he needs at this point, so just do whatever damage is necessary. Rifleman coming up here doing a little bit of extra damage. Oh, it looks like even with For the Fatherland activated and all of that, the Rifleman point blank with the mortar team support enough to take out this MG team. Looks like the Flame Pioneers are moving in, backed up by the venerable Volksgrenadiers. But just a lot of skirmishing back and forth across no man's land. But notice, especially new players out there, notice the fact that even though units are retreating back and forth, there are still plenty of units on the field. It's very important to keep your reinforcements coming in waves and stack those waves so that they're not all happening at the same time. Because if that happens, every time you retreat, you lose territory. Whereas with this kind of control over your army, you can just constantly be retreating and constantly attacking. And you'll see both players are doing this rather effectively. They all have retreated units that are now healing and waiting to get back into the action and that sort of thing. But they're still managing to hold their lines where they need to. A nice little charge here by these Flame Pioneers. Kind of, you can see this very excited looking Wilson's Rifleman guy. Oh no, he just all tuckered out. But looking pretty good. Volksgrenadiers rather grabbing up this heavy machine gun team and repositioning where necessary. Good amount of reinforcements here, and we do see the nasty German mortar teams are out there. Vet 1, along with this Blitz anti-tank gun back there, and this bunker that's just doing a great job kind of collecting all the wounded on the field. Meanwhile, Sniper with 12 kills, just kind of owning up in no man's land. This is always a great way to have them, backed up by a couple of close infantry. Oh, these mortars are getting closer and closer, but just kind of letting him do his thing. We'll have to see if we see any sort of counter-sniping coming up anytime soon. Mortar is kind of landing. And a good amount of skirmishing going on, so Greyhound's moving up, and we'll see if this pack is going to move up, because that is, of course, there just to counter this Greyhound. Notice 10 kills for the Greyhound, same Greyhound all game, taking good care of it, making sure to keep it repaired and all that. A little bit of casualties going on here, a little bit of back capping going on here finally, and look at that, just a single rifleman squad up here to support this whole area. Again, lightly defended, but Alfons just doesn't have time to divert units. He is fighting tooth and nail constantly in this area, and this is just good macro, you know what I mean? Just, when you look at the map as a whole, this is exactly what Inverse wants right now. He only has to win once down here to grab this and suddenly triple cap for a while, and he can, he can lose this fight 100 times and doesn't have to worry. So finally, a little bit of back capping going on here, but no, Berger's Panzer Pioneers completely killed by this rifleman squad up north. Vet 2 Grenadiers moving around now. So we're definitely seeing the infantry upgrades going. And this sniper is doing his thing, 13 kills. Vet 2. Just kind of chilling out. Anti-tank gun doing its thing. It looks like it's mostly just firing at infantry for the meantime. A lot of healing going on, that sort of thing. Not too much else building over here. Let me go ahead and just take a look from Alphonse's point of view and just see if anything's changed or what's going on back here. Huge squads of Volksgrenadiers, basically, all taking advantage of this reduced reinforcement cost, just spamming out Volks, spamming Volks constantly. So that sort of thing is going on. And let's see, the riflemen are still pressing up here, just kind of recapping all this territory. We'll have to see if Alfons is going to kind of take the bait and just come out here and start fighting up north or not. Otherwise, just still fighting over no man's land. Gonna go ahead and switch on back to inverse here. Wilson's riflemen kind of standing their own up here, chilling out by this lovely looking tree. But for the most part, the fighting is a little chill right now. Here comes a good push. This is what we're looking for. And they just got vetted up to vet 1. Putting some pressure on this mortar team here, always good. Mortar teams only need to take 2 casualties before they're completely annihilated. Vet 2 Greyhound gonna have to back out. 14 kills on that thing though, looking pretty good. Oh, and the reactive artillery goes off, killing 4 gentlemen. Everybody else having to retreat right away. The rest of these units are safe. And you'll notice that he's, just going to stay in a little bit further than he needs to with these Wilson's riflemen. Maybe you can put some pressure on some of these points, but it's a great way to kind of alleviate, divert attention. They're going to have to retreat now too, but you'll see, again, he still has a nice little front. This sniper can definitely, take a couple of shots, but here comes a big, nasty push. We'll have to see how far this gets, because it's a little bit more than this one Greyhound or this one sniper wants to handle, and definitely this anti-tank gun is not the best here. We do have For the Fatherland activated right off the bat. Going to take a look at Alphonse's point of view here. Good buffing going on, good exchange of fire right now. That just wore out. These engineers having to retreat, and we have a Calliope on the field, finally. Oh, that's like the best part of any armor commander's day is when they finally get their first Calliope out there. And you can see just point blank right into the blob of infantry. You couldn't ask for better. Oh, look at this one machine gunner. Oh, and against all odds, this one machine gunner does his thing. Oh, and it looks like during all of that, unfortunately, the Blitz anti-tank gun snuck up and took a couple of shots at this Greyhound and took it out. And even though he had a lot of munitions and could have fired up that Allied war machine, it just was too much going on at that point in time. But even I just barely noticed that right at the end there. Kind of sneaky. So, pretty good. This is exactly what you want now. Normally, armored commanders, especially, new players and things like that, armored commanders want to kind of hang on to dear life until they can get that anti-tank gun out, because so many of their abilities don't necessarily get used early game, which is one reason that I really like that he's using Allied War Machine, because there's a lot of potential for, like, charging on in, and putting a Greyhound mine down and perhaps losing your Greyhound, but then having Allied War Machine active. Very munitions intensive, but, there's some potential for that kind of stuff early game. Riflemen just kind of moving out.